November 2017. The Ritz-Carlton Riyadh transforms into a gilded prison overnight. 381 of Saudi Arabia's most powerful men arrested in a single night. Princes, billionaires, ministers, all detained by order of one man, Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince who dared to cage his own family. The charges: corruption totaling over $100 billion. The reality? The most dramatic power grab in modern Middle Eastern history. Today, we reveal the truth behind Saudi Arabia's billion-dollar purge. Mohammed bin Salman became crown prince in June 2017 at just 31 years old. His father, King Salman, bypassed dozens of older royals to place his favorite son in line for the throne. This move shattered 80 years of Saudi succession tradition. The Al Saud family has over 15,000 members, with hundreds of princes holding power and wealth. For decades, consensus ruled the kingdom with power shared among senior princes. MBS destroyed that system in one night. November 4, 2017, at 2 a.m., Saudi special forces surrounded the Ritz-Carlton. The luxury hotel's 492 rooms became interrogation cells. Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, worth $18 billion, was arrested in his palace and driven to the Ritz. Prince Miteb bin Abdullah, head of the National Guard commanding 100,000 troops, detained without warning. Walid al-Ibrahim, owner of MBC television network reaching 300 million Arabs, locked inside. Bakr bin Laden, chairman of the Saudi bin Laden Group, worth $7 billion, arrested at midnight. The total wealth of detainees exceeded $800 billion combined. MBS called it an anti-corruption campaign to recover stolen state funds. The official charges included money laundering, bribery, and extortion dating back decades. Saudi authorities claimed these princes and businessmen stole over $100 billion from the kingdom. But observers worldwide saw something different. This was MBS eliminating every potential rival to his absolute power. Prince Miteb bin Abdullah controlled the National Guard, the only military force not under MBS command. His arrest and forced resignation handed MBS total military control. Prince Al-Walid bin Talal owned major stakes in Twitter, Citigroup, and hundreds of global companies. His international business network made him too independent and too powerful. The tension lasted 83 days for most prisoners. Inside the Ritz-Carlton, princes slept on mattresses in ballrooms designed for royal weddings. Interrogators worked around the clock, demanding confessions and asset transfers. The Saudi government offered a deal to every detainee. Surrender a portion of your wealth and businesses, receive your freedom. Refuse, and face public trial with potential execution for corruption. Prince Al-Walid bin Talal reportedly paid $6 billion for his release. Prince Miteb bin Abdullah surrendered over $1 billion to walk free. Bakr bin Laden's company transferred assets worth $5 billion to the state. In total, the Saudi government recovered an estimated $107 billion through settlements. The purge went beyond money. MBS dismantled the power structures that could challenge him. The religious establishment that controlled Saudi society for 90 years lost their authority. Senior clerics who opposed MBS vision were arrested or silenced. The Commission for the Promotion of Virtue, the religious police, had their powers stripped. MBS moved to modernize Saudi society at unprecedented speed. Women gained the right to drive in June 2018, ending the world's only driving ban on women. Cinemas opened for the first time in 35 years with the first movie screening in April 2018. Music concerts featuring international artists now fill stadiums in Riyadh and Jeddah. Vision 2030, MBS Economic Transformation Plan, requires $500 billion in investment. NEOM, the futuristic mega-city project, demands complete control of state resources. No rival princes could be allowed to divert funds or challenge the vision. The message was clear to every member of the royal family. MBS rules absolutely, and no amount of royal blood protects you from his authority. International reactions split dramatically. The United States under President Trump supported MBS, seeing him as a reformer and key ally. American business leaders attended the Future Investment Initiative days after the arrests. President Trump tweeted support, calling it Saudi Arabia fighting corruption. Human rights organizations condemned the detentions as authoritarian overreach without due process. The United Nations called for transparent legal proceedings and respect for human rights. European governments expressed concern about the concentration of power in one man's hands. But MBS had calculated correctly that economic opportunity would outweigh criticism. Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund grew to $620 billion under MBS control. Foreign investment poured into the kingdom despite the authoritarian crackdown. The purge worked because MBS understood modern power dynamics. Traditional Saudi princes relied on family consensus and religious legitimacy. MBS built power through economic transformation, international alliances, and direct control of security forces. He arrested princes, but he also gave Saudi youth concerts, movies, and social freedoms they desperately wanted. 70% of Saudis are under 30 years old, and they embraced MBS' vision of a modern kingdom. The old guard princes represented a past of religious restrictions and economic stagnation. MBS offered a future of entertainment, tourism, and global relevance. The Ritz-Carlton reopened to guests in February 2018 after 83 days as a detention center. The marble floors where princes once slept returned to hosting luxury travelers. But the kingdom had changed forever. Prince Mohammed bin Nayef, the former crown prince who MBS replaced, remains under house arrest with no charges filed. Prince Ahmed bin Abdulaziz, King Salman's brother who briefly posed a succession threat, lives in silence. No senior prince dares publicly criticize MBS policies or decisions. The anti-corruption committee that ordered the arrests was headed by MBS himself. No independent judiciary reviewed the evidence or supervised the trials. Settlements were negotiated in secret with no public disclosure of terms. This concentration of power in one person's hands remains unprecedented in Saudi history. King Salman's health declined after 2017, leaving MBS as the kingdom's de facto ruler. At 39 years old today, MBS could rule Saudi Arabia for the next 50 years. The purge of 2017 ensures no family member will challenge his authority. The $100 billion recovered funded Vision 2030 projects across the kingdom. NEOM construction accelerated with state funds no longer diverted to princely palaces. The Public Investment Fund, controlled directly by MBS, became the world's most active sovereign investor. Saudi Arabia transformed from a conservative religious monarchy into an ambitious, modernizing autocracy. The social reforms continue at a pace unthinkable before 2017. Women now work alongside men in offices, restaurants, and government positions. Saudi Arabia hosts boxing matches, Formula One races, and music festivals that were criminal offenses 5 years ago. The religious police who once beat women for uncovered hair now have no enforcement power. But political freedom remains completely absent. No opposition parties exist, no free press operates, and no public criticism of MBS is tolerated. Activists who pushed for the very reforms MBS implemented sit in prison for demanding them too early. The purge of November 2017 was the founding moment of MBS absolute rule. It demonstrated that royal blood provides no protection from the crown prince's authority. It showed that wealth accumulated over decades can be seized in a single night. It proved that MBS will sacrifice family unity for his vision of Saudi Arabia's future. The $100 billion purge was never really about corruption. It was about power, control, and reshaping a kingdom for one man's ambition. MBS arrested his cousins because they represented the old Saudi Arabia. The new Saudi Arabia has one ruler, one vision, and one unchallengeable authority. The princes in the Ritz-Carlton learned this lesson at a cost of $107 billion. The rest of the world watches as the youngest leader of the Arab world consolidates more power than any Saudi ruler in history. That's the truth behind Saudi Arabia's billion-dollar purge. One night, 381 arrests, $107 billion recovered, and absolute power secured. If you want more revelations about royal power and political manipulation the world rarely sees, subscribe to Royal Command. Hit that notification bell because we're exposing the secrets of untouchable authority. Drop a comment telling us, was MBS right to arrest corrupt princes, or was this a dangerous power grab? Next time, we reveal Dubai versus Abu Dhabi, and the shocking truth about which emirate really controls the wealth. Until then, remember, in the Game of Thrones, you either submit or you pay the price.